It is October 4th, 2025, and we are 1 month, 1 month from the 2025-2026 college basketball season. Justin, we are so close. I can feel it.
Man, I'll tell you what, hearing that song, it just like brings chills. You know what I mean? Because we're so back. We're so back and so ready for another phenomenal season. Phenomenal season. How you feeling today? How you feeling this weekend?
Good, man. We did not call each other, but rocking the Badger red and the DBD red. So a job well done there. If you're new, welcome to Dead Ball Dancing. This is our college basketball show. We'll give a little high level in a minute here, but for everyone returning, hey, we're back. College basketball is almost back. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the college basketball world, but the most important thing is the games are almost here.
When does preseason start? Isn't that crazy that we have a college basketball show and I don't know the answer to that? It's kind of embarrassing.
I think the earliest I've seen a game was October 22nd.
You know what? That's tentatively one day before my daughter's going to be here. So we're just going to have to.
Hopefully you don't miss it because you're watching
That's what I'm
preseason
saying.
basketball.
Yeah, well, Steph wouldn't allow that to happen. I think we know that. But it might be like one of those little tandem screens, like, yeah, Ben, you got it. But no, I'm not going to be doing that either. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. But man, I'm so excited. A lot to talk about, to kick off the season. I think. Do we want to take the potential new viewers through our biases, or do we want to just jump into it?
Yeah, let's get some housekeeping out of the way first. So this is Dead Ball Dancing. A little bit of a format change this year. We're going to be coming to you on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
We'll have a game of the week, usually from that Saturday slate. We'll kind of take you through what has happened since the last time we saw you, what's going to happen that next day. We do our own proprietary rankings here. That's what's up on your screen right now. We do enjoy and love Ken Palm. Ken Palm has let some media bias creep into his stuff lately.
A little bit.
But don't come in here talking about CBI or especially the AP poll. Like, I don't know. If I wanted shitty reporters to rank my teams, I would just follow the AP poll. So we made our own. It has its own biases, as Justin spoke to. I am a Badger homer and a Big Ten guy. Hate Ohio State. However, I think that just about covers my basketball biases pretty cleanly. How about you, Justin?
Well, Big Ten guy as well. That's why you and I get along. And also a Purdue fan. On the negative side, returners will know. But for me, it's just purely Gonzaga. And that's about it. I love that we're both into the Big Ten. I love the teams that obviously the Big Ten added. We tried our best not to let that bleed into our rankings, I would say sometimes. Rick is very good about keeping me honest about my biases. So we're hoping that we keep the rankings nice and clean. But yeah, if you're going to come in here talking about the AP poll and, oh my God, did you see the changes here? We will mute you and potentially ban you from the chat. So please do not bring AP in here. We want to keep this holistic and clean.
We do not have a corporate sponsor yet for this season, but we are open to it. So in the meantime, we are presented by Chainlink, which is one of our projects. Sports Pick'em. We have NFL picks actually, but the main game is all different sports. So get on there. Link is in the bio. Chainlink.st. That is free to play. Just by signing up and making picks, you're supporting the show. So we very much would appreciate that. Let's get into it, man. We got a lot to cover today. Top 25 up on the board here right now. Not really any surprises for me in the top 5, 10, 15 necessarily. Let's take it from the top. You got anything in these top 5 that you really wanted to touch on? Set aside Purdue for now. Let's talk about the other 4 because I know you can wax poetic on them.
Yeah, and we'll get into some transfers and some big news later on, obviously. But for me, the top 5 is all about returners, right? Houston, you and I had a phenomenal national championship game last year. They returned arguably one of their best players in Juzang, I believe is what his last name was. Strength at the guard position, really good defender, and The coaching there, obviously, as well on the Houston side, is why they're number one for me. So no real surprises at one. Florida, not going to wax poetic there with you either. I think you got some good content to cover there later on. BYU. I think you and I saw some sparks from them last year, right? We saw with that team that they could be. Faltered early on, and then when Big Ten started, they were just waxing everybody. They waxed a strong Iowa State team. I believe they got Arizona. I believe in one of the games they played them, and then they got the number one recruit, DJ, and I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm not going to say it, who was number one in that class. So really good recruiting in the offseason for BYU. And then Texas Tech, they almost, I mean, that you could argue that they were potentially like end of the year, like number 3 or number 4. Really good coaching, strong defensive team. I didn't see them fill a ton of gaps on the offensive side. We knew they could shoot the ball, but inside the arc, they really struggled, I felt, with consistency. So I'm interested to see what they do and how long they hold at the number 5 position for me, Rick. But yeah, top 5 for me, I think is really no surprise. How about you?
Yeah, I also have them at 5. They did a really interesting job scheduling.
Yeah.
No, all right. So I won't go through the whole damn schedule, but in the first 6 weeks of the season, they play Nova, UConn, Wisconsin, Miami, Clemson. But interspersed with all that, they have Holy Cross, Delaware, Cal Baptist.
Yeah.
So like I think we'll be coming into like the second week of December, and there'll be no doubt who BYU is.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be, this is who they are, and they'll either still be a top 5 team for us, or they're going to fall out of the top 25. Just kind of based on what we see there. I think there's a lot of potential for this team in a Big 12 that is kind of softer in my eyes. Turnover, a lot of talent. Arizona is still going to be good. Baylor, I have ranked pretty well, but like that's kind of it for the Big 12. Iowa State lost everything.
Everybody. Yeah.
So BYU has a shot here, especially with how they've scheduled to be battle tested and to have wins over big programs.
Yeah.
So that was a good one for me. We both have them ranked 5th. Come in at 4th overall in our top 25 here. So I'm excited to see them start the season. Back-to-back games, Nova and Holy Cross is a really interesting way to start the year. And I think we'll learn a lot.
I'm really excited, and I'm so happy you kind of dove into BYU there for that BYU UConn game. I, as you know, don't really respect UConn all that much. I think they were adequately ranked last year, but they had a hell of an offseason. And, they still got Hurley at the helm. So I'm saying if BYU can skate by a really tough UConn team that had a phenomenal offseason in the transfer portal, a phenomenal offseason in terms of freshman recruits, they might be for real. And then obviously you pair that with, in my opinion, a Clemson game where the ACC is not going to be too bad this year. Duke lost a lot of players, Malwalk, right? Flag. ACC is wide open. We could see Clemson have a resurgent season. So I think calling out their scheduling early on was a really, really good point. So I'm excited to see what they do.
I'm a little concerned about the ACC as a whole. We can hit that in a different segment here. The only other call out I had, really like top 10 outside of Michigan, who I'm going to plant a flag on here in a little bit, is this scrappy ass Arkansas team. That we saw a lot from last year. And obviously last year is last year. They turn over some talent. But Arkansas might be like my Florida from last year. I think they're a really, really good team. And I think that the way they play basketball, I have them at 9th. I think the way they play basketball really loans itself to a long schedule, to a grindy SEC schedule. And I'm excited to see Arkansas kind of get their teeth into some of these mid-majors who think they're hot, and just kind of grind them down. So Arkansas is a team to watch for me.
Yeah, and I think you and I were pretty high on them as well. You had them at 9, I had them at 12. you know that I do not like Calipari, but you also cannot deny that the guy can recruit and the guy can coach. He had that team humming at the end of last year. I picked them to lose in the first round of March Madness, and boy, was I wrong, right? Sweet 16, or did they go Elite Eight? One of the two. Did lose a lot, recruited really well. And, you have to have kind of that scrappy, gritty mentality to win in the SEC. And, I think they got the right coaching staff and the right players around to be good. So I think they're valued very well at 10.
Well, just behind Arkansas at 10 is a really interesting team. St. John's slots in at 11th.
Yep.
In our aggregate rankings, mostly driven by a 16 ranking by me.
Yep.
Offsetting you having them all the way up at 7.
Yep.
So let's talk St. John's. I am officially labeling you the conductor of the St. John's hype train. And new viewers, you might think, okay, well, 16 to 9 ranked at 11. That's really not that big of a difference. But it is when we're talking about the difference between a top 8 team in the country and a not top 15 team in the country. So give me a little bit on St. John's and what you've seen from them this offseason that justifies the level of hype that you're pumping into this team.
So you and I agree that they can't score the basketball. That's their biggest hole, is they could not score the basketball. If you gave their players like 14 mil apiece, they probably couldn't score a basketball. Like, it was bad, right? That is the reason why they lost the way they lost in March Madness. But you and I would also agree that they were probably the best defensive team in the nation. And not only that, watching them play defense was fun. So they went in the offseason, and Pitino, who I just personally love as a coach, I love the way he hypes his players. I love the way he talks to his players, filled the gap, in my opinion. This team cannot shoot, and he went out and got 2 players who could shoot above 40% from 3 last year. Sannon, who you and I watched at Arizona State, probably the only good player at Arizona State, you would argue, and then Oziah Sellers, who was at 14 points a game and 40% from 3. You fill the gap that you struggled with so mightily last year, and you return a lot of players who were your defensive anchors. And to me, that to me screams that you're going to be a top 10 team. Now, they scheduled a lot tougher this year. So the chances are is they're not going to be record-wise as good as they were last year. But in my opinion, if you go out and you fix what you struggled with, that earns you a spot in my top 10, especially if you're more well-rounded on the defensive side of the ball than you were on the offensive side of the ball. So that's the reason why I think I'm a little bit higher on them than you are. I guess we'll see. I haven't really seen what their schedule is like. Once you get into Big East play again, you got some really good Big East teams this year. Connecticut, Xavier, all returning a lot of guys. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the reason why I was so high. They brought in God knows how many people on the transfer portal, and it was all to fill the gap on the offensive side of the ball. So what are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I very strategically placed them at 16 so that I could cover my ass in case they come out hot. They play Alabama on November 8th. They play Iowa State and Baylor for Thanksgiving. Then they play Ole Miss in December. And then they jump into DePaul, Kentucky, Harvard, Georgetown, Pravi, Butler, Creighton, get into the meat of that schedule, that conference schedule. What concerns me is they lost 4 of their top 5 scorers. Bad scorers, right? But still volume. 3 of them seniors. 1, the only non-senior, the Big East Player of the Year. Now, RJ is the reason they lost, their tournament game. But correct. Big East Player of the Year, consensus All-American.
Yep.
So from a leadership standpoint, I think it matters. Having a legendary coach can cover a lot of senior, older leadership sins, right? You don't necessarily need that, but losing all of that, I'm a little concerned. Why did Wilcher leave?
Right. Right.
There's something there. So you have this absolute void of player leadership.
Right.
And yeah, you do bring in better shooters than you had, but
Right.
you bring in 2 new guys who can shoot, and that doesn't, in my mind, directly replace 4 of your top 5 scorers, whether they were good shooters or not.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to interrupt your monologue, but nobody's giving these guys $14 million to shoot a basketball, and that's pretty apparent when every single guy gets passed over by the NBA.
Right.
I mean, there was not an NBA player on this team.
No,
and that's
no.
pretty telling as well. So
Yeah.
I have them outside my top 15, which makes them a top 4 seed. At 16, they're a top 4 seed in the tournament. Right. It's not like they're going to be bad. I don't think with a coach like that, you can be bad. No. But I do have real concerns, especially with how tough their schedule is early. If they lose to a top tier SEC team, 2 Big 12 teams that should be decent, and then you get into your conference schedule where it's just banger after banger. I mean, you could look at this team, and at the end of December, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy if they were 10-6, and that's not going to get the job done.
No. And I'm happy you brought up the volume over the volume of scoring loss, right? Because that's one point that I noticed, and why I think I'm probably high on the guys they brought in is I think they traded volume for quality. If you look at the teams that were successful last year, apart from Walter Clayton at Florida, because he was just chucking shit up and for some reason it would go in, the guy was unbelievable. You look at a Houston team, right? Solid from the 3-point arc, but they didn't take a bunch. They got the ball inside the arc, took those open mid-range jumpers, and hammered the ball to the rim. And to me, that's quality basketball. When you start falling in love with the 3 like RJ did, right? And that's why they lost, to your point, they lost the tournament game. You get yourself in these situations where you have to throw up the volume. Then all of a sudden, you're taking 53s a game, and you're making 10 of them, but then your percentage is 20, right? And so I think that's what I liked what they did is they kind of spread the wealth a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball with the guys they brought in, and they take smart shots. When you look at Oziah Sellers and you look at a Joson Sannon, one dribble, mid-range pull, and they elevate to the point where you can get a hand up, but they're 3 feet above you. So I think that's the reason why I like that they lost all that volume is I don't care if you score 50 points a game. If you're limiting the other team to 40 and you're shooting 60 on the offensive side of the ball, you're gonna win some tough games against some tough opponents. So I think that's why I'm excited about it. But to your point, time will tell. They scheduled out their behinds, right? I mean, if they get through this gauntlet and they're 12-2 going into conference play, you're talking about a number 4 St. John's, not a number 10, right, or a number 11.
No,
so we'll
no
see.
Question.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. I want to talk about Michigan.
Go ahead.
Michigan at number 7 in our aggregate rankings. We have drastically different rankings on Michigan. I have them at 4, right behind Purdue. I believe you have them at 19.
14.
So, and again, right, 14 is a top 3 seed, right? Like, we're splitting hairs here, but there haven't been any games, guys. Okay, I don't know if you can see it up in the left-hand corner, real tiny. I put preseason top 25
right there. Yeah.
Michigan is gonna be my flag plant team this year. I think modern college basketball, you win with guards. Michigan's backcourt go toe to toe with anybody. It's not about 1 or 2 good players on their 2 deep. Their top 4 guards can all play ball. It's very versatile. It's very complete. It's a mix of veteran leadership and like some of that young energy. Just come in and shoot the hell out of it.
Yep.
We have seen this program develop players from inside and do better than expected. They have a system that works. The roster fits that system perfectly. There's other teams we're going to talk about this episode, this season, who have to define who they are as a team.
Yeah.
Michigan doesn't have to do that. It is done. It is Michigan. Whether or not that leads to win, put it in the comments, right? We'll talk about it a little bit now, but
Yep.
they are Michigan. They don't have to develop a persona. They don't have to match players to what the program's trying to do. It is done. So they're going to go out there and play basketball. And I think the thing that really, really works in their advantage this year is that they think they're being slept on. They feel disrespected. There isn't a single analyst outside of this guy right here picking Michigan to be toe-to-toe with Purdue. Now, I do still have Purdue ahead of Michigan. I think they are the better team. But it's not like this crazy divide like we see in some conferences.
Yeah.
I expect Michigan to be there all year. And I think this team's tired of being overlooked. They're going to take that working man approach, and they are going to grind the ever-living hell out of the bottom 4/5 of this Big Ten schedule.
Yeah.
So they can jump up and grab games against the top of the Big Ten. This Michigan team is going to be right there. So again, we're splitting hairs a little bit because like it's a top 15 team pretty much no matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
But this Michigan team is one to watch out for and one that is going to make noise in March.
Yeah. Phenomenal call out, Rick. Yeah, I think 4-14 is almost similar to that gap that you and I have on St. John's, where it's like 7-16. So it's funny how you and I have kind of different perspectives and how that kind of plays into our rankings. Love the call out. Here's my concern. You talk about scheduling, right? And you talk about how it feels like the good teams schedule tough early on. So when you get into your grind of a conference schedule, you're ready to go. You're battle tested. There's no doubt this roster is put together. Dusty May is a phenomenal coach. I love what he did with the team last year. Let me just walk you through the schedule really quick. And this I'll get into my point here shortly. Oakland, Wake Forest, TCU are your first 3 games of the season. They might win by a combined 100 points of those 3 games. They're that good. Then you have surprise Auburn on November 25th. That's a rematch of the Sweet 16 where Auburn beats you by 13. Auburn's not the same Auburn team. We know. But and then you go Rutgers, horrible. You and I agree on that. Villanova could be interesting, right? Maryland, tough game like that. And then McNeese. So it just feels like they could have scheduled a little bit tougher early on so they could be kind of tried and true going into that conference schedule. Because then when you get into that Big Ten conference where every game is your players are going to need an ice bath for 3 hours afterwards, you might or may not be ready. Hot take. Check this out. McNeese beats Michigan on 12/29. They go 2-0 against USC and Penn State. Wisconsin beats them.
Yeah, that feels like a Wisconsin spot, doesn't it?
It sure does, doesn't it? Because Wisconsin, you and I think I kind of disrespected them a little bit more than I should have. Wisconsin's 27 for me. They're knocking on the door. I like the team that they have. Their coaching has been good every single year. That feels like a Wisconsin win, right? So, and I don't know if Wisconsin wins that game if Michigan schedules a little bit tougher early on and has to play a little bit more of a grindy schedule in non-con. So that's just my thoughts. I think they're going to be phenomenal.
I think their Big Ten schedule is a good one.
Yeah,
they only have to play Purdue once.
Yep, agreed.
What I'm concerned about most with Michigan is early February. January 30th, you have a game at Michigan State. You have a Penn State game that doesn't matter. Then you go to Ohio State. Northwestern team that can get sneaky on you, but is also a look-ahead spot for UCLA coming to town. Then you go to Purdue. Then you play Duke.
So random, dude. What?
It's the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I hate how the season ends. Home Minnesota, at Illinois, at Iowa, then the Michigan State game again. So you just have this kind of stretch from February till going into the Big Ten tournament where if you're not healthy or if you haven't been playing well, it's like, okay, UCLA comes to town. They might blow the doors off of you in that game. I don't know what UCLA's schedule looks like right before that. And it's like you have no time for rest. 3 days later, you got to go to West Lafayette. Then you got to go to Duke. And it's like That's a little concerning for me. But
Yeah,
the meat of the Big Ten schedule, it's pretty easy.
yeah,
They got a pretty easy pull.
they do. They do. Yeah.
Wisconsin comes to town. UCLA comes to town. You have a home and home with Ohio State. But like this is manageable schedule for Michigan.
Ohio
So
State game's going to be tough, and my concern is 2 games against Michigan State this year. You have Michigan State at 13. I'm a bit higher on them at 6. They go 0-2 versus Michigan State. Gonna be tough in the Big Ten tournament. I don't know. Like, and Illinois is not that bad. Yeah, like, they're gonna wipe the floor with their early schedule. You and I both agree on that. But that back end and then throwing a random Duke game in there, tough, man, tough. So we'll see. I guess we'll see.
So the Big Ten is probably not as good as it was last year, but I feel like the top of the Big Ten is significantly better than it was last year.
Absolutely.
It's going to be interesting to see exactly how that falls out. I'm not crazy about some of the scheduling, especially as a Wisconsin fan.
Yeah, no, of course.
All right, let's move a little bit further down the rankings here. You got a team, either 16 to 25 or a little bit outside the top 25 that you want to hit on?
I do, yeah. So we kind of briefly touched on them last year. I want to see where I have them really quick before we discuss them. Yeah, so I got Mississippi at 20, and you have them at 22. So I think they're valued really well by both of us. And the reason why I want to talk about this team is though they lost a few of their key players. I think they lost their top scorer and their number 3 scorer. I love their balance, and we called out their balance last year. Ole Miss, Mississippi, you would think is more of a knock them down, grind them out, almost like a Big Ten style of play on the defensive side of the ball, right? And they were. They were a top defensive team in the nation, top 30 in turnovers, top 50 in steals, and top 70 in field goal defense. Pretty well balanced on the defensive side of the ball. But then their offense was also ranked 67th. So they're returning a lot of guys, and their biggest hole was rebounding. And especially in an SEC where you come out of every game bloodied and battled, and whoever wins the boards often wins that game. Florida, right? Taking Florida, for example. They were 291st in rebounding in last year. And one thing that I'm focusing on when I'm looking at teams to talk about in our top 20 and ongoing is how well did you fill your holes? How well did you fill the gap in the transfer portal? And James Scott, a transfer, 6'11" transfer, and I forgot the team he transferred from, averaged 8 rebounds a game. And they immediately brought him in to start at essentially the power forward or center position. And I think he's going to have an immediate impact on how Ole Miss attacks the glass in 2025 and 2026. What I really like is, and I'm going to get myself a little bit in trouble here because normally I like teams that schedule tough, is they have a cupcakey schedule, and then they get to Miami on December 2nd, and then St. John's on December 6th. So I think if they come out of the December 2nd, December 6th kind of battles against UF or UM and St. John's 2-0, we're going to talk about a Ole Miss team that's going into SEC play flying high. And what I really like is how they're starting the SEC schedule in 2025 and 2026. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Georgia. Now, I think Arkansas gets them. I think Arkansas is going to be a top 4 seed in the SEC this year. But can you imagine if they start SEC play 3-1, and we're talking about other SEC teams that Florida doesn't have Walter Clayton. We're talking about Alabama that's gotten a bit worse. We're talking about Auburn that's gotten a bit worse. There's some rankings at the top in the SEC open this year, and I think if Ole Miss can put together the balance that they had last year and then fix their issues on the glass, I'm high on. I'm really excited to see what Ole Miss does this year. Looking forward to seeing how well they play on and how their balance plays, I should say. So,
yeah, slots in at 20 in our aggregate rankings. I think that's about
right.
right for what
Yeah.
we know right now. But yeah, I mean, they play the games for a reason, right? So
Yeah,
if they
absolutely.
can, they can work through their schedule, the teams that we are expecting a lot from,
Yeah.
maybe we'll see them up here on the top 5 by January.
We'll see. We'll see.
I want to talk a theme from last year, which was Blue Bloods not deserving anyone's attention.
Yeah.
We don't like Blue Bloods because they're given media attention that isn't deserved, right? We're talking UNC, Duke, Kansas, UCLA to an extent, Kentucky, those kind of teams, right? The teams that, CBS plays their stupid friggin' music for and is, the game of the week, and they both have like 10 losses. But everyone's undefeated. Everyone's undefeated right now.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about a really, really good Tar Heels team. This North Carolina team, I have them at 40.
Where do I have them?
I believe you have them at like 99.
Let me see.
This team is turning over a roster. They are not rebuilding. They are reloading. And the one thing I will say about Blue Bloods is that they can reload in a season. Season to season, the common thread isn't there the way we'll talk about some of these other teams. They don't really build for success. They bring in a class, that class dominates. They all go to the NBA. And then the next year, if they miss on their recruiting, they suck.
Correct.
That's Blue Blood life, right?
Yep.
Well, this Tar Heels team returns Seth Trimble, who is a phenomenal point guard.
Incredible.
102 starts. Like this guy is solid. He is solid. Yep. They're fine in the backcourt. But they go and get this kid from Montenegro, Bogovac, who has already played 4 years of professional basketball. This kid's 22. He's huge. 6'6". He's been playing professional ball. He's just like built out. He's been playing against men, not these 18-year-old boys that the ACC's loaded with. You bring in Kyron Evans from Colorado State, who shot 44% from 3 last year. Okay, you got 2 deep threats on the floor at all times with Trimble feeding. And then, probably the number 1 overall pick, Caleb Wilson. I mean, anytime you bring in a lottery freshman and pair it with a ready-made team, okay. So the only thing I'm looking at this roster, I'm like, they need some size. Well, Visar from Arizona transferred in. He's 7 feet tall. The perimeter players are going to be so aggressive on this Tar Heel team because of his presence in the middle, and he can actually play good defense. So in what is a relatively weak ACC, I think North Carolina can make some noise. All it takes is a couple mistakes from Duke to not be Duke, right? We talked about how much they turned over season over season here. If Duke misses, if they miss on their blue chip, blue blood experience, right? North Carolina just kind of slots in. Someone will win the ACC. Whoever wins the ACC is going to be a top 4 seed.
Agreed.
I think with what North Carolina brings in and the talent they return, I think it could be North Carolina. I have them at 40 in my rankings. They have work to do. I'm not going to hand it to them. I'm not going to AP pull them up in my top 25 right away, but I think they're the type of team that is built for a deep run in the tournament. And if you're built for a deep run in the tournament, you will have a successful ACC season. So watch out for North Carolina. I like the Tar Heels to really make some noise this season.
Phenomenal research. Phenomenal call outs. My concern isn't the players. Their roster, you could argue, is the most talented and balanced in the ACC. You could argue that it's going to be the most talented and balanced as long as they stay healthy. In the tournament, Hubert Davis just can't seem to figure it out. I don't know, like, if North Carolina still had Roy Williams as a head coach, I think I would have put him. I think I would have put him in my top 25. Like, no joke. I think I legitimately would have put them in my top 25. But I've watched Hubert Davis coach this team for 5 years or 4 years or 5 years, and he can't seem to put it together. It's not the players. He can't seem to put it together. I don't know if he doesn't have them bought in, or if it's his scheme, or what it is, but something seems off about his coaching style to me, and I'm hoping that the players can outweigh that. It's funny. Like, normally when you get a big name like Hubert Davis or like a Rick Pitino, it's enough to kind of outweigh some dysfunction in a roster. But for me, this is like almost the opposite. It's like the players are talented, but the coach just squanders, I guess is the lack of a better word for me. So I'm excited to see what they do. ACC is wide open. I don't think Duke's very good this year, but they have a better coach. So I guess we'll see. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, you still got Louisville there. You still have Clemson there. Look, there's decent teams.
Yeah,
sitting out there.
Yep.
SMU is probably going to be good. The schedule's not too crazy. They have the Blue Blood Special. They play Kansas to pretty much start the year.
Yeah.
The Bonnies, Michigan State, Kentucky, Georgetown. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that a good North Carolina team can't handle.
Absolutely.
The question is, by November 27th, are they good?
Yeah.
And I just don't know, but I like all the pieces there. I think it fits well with my kind of narrative for the season, where we're going to have a return to form for a lot of these teams that have looked out of sorts. I think this is kind of like a get right year.
Yeah.
This is like a chalk bracket year. As much as last year was, I think this is like a 1 seeds to the Final Four kind of year. Obviously, we're a long way from March. But
yeah. Great call out, though. I think, unfortunately, they're going to be good this year. Unfortunately.
All right, we're going to talk some key transfers, but is there anything else top 25 adjacent you wanted to touch on before we start to get into some of these players?
All set. I think we covered it really well. Teams to watch. I think a couple themes will carry over from our top 25 into the superlatives, and some transfers. So let's kick it off, man.
All right. My biggest transfer, Xavier Lee, moving from Princeton to Florida. Walter Clayton was really good. I think Xavier Lee kind of plugs directly in. Yeah. 17 points per game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Shoots 44% from the floor. Florida doesn't have to change their offense at all. Xavier Lee steps into Walter Clayton's role and immediately can lead that team.
Great.
So that's a big one for me. Florida obviously sitting inside our top 5.
Absolutely.
Didn't lose a lot if you consider Xavier Lee close to Walter Clayton, and I do. So I'm excited to see how he does there.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly, I didn't do my research on this guy until like yesterday, and then I pulled up some of his highlights, and I'm like, oh god, they got another one. No one's gonna replace Walter Clayton. I mean, he was doing shit that I've never seen a college basketball player do in terms of shot selection. But I'm excited to see what the kid does in kind of the lights, right? Because you go from Princeton to a Florida, big change. So I guess we'll see what it does. Yeah. And that theme carries me into actually my biggest transfer. And again, I guess I suppose I'm a little bit biased, but even if you look at it holistically, right, Rick, you can't deny that the Oscar Clough transfer from South Dakota State to Purdue isn't a huge one, right? Like it almost feels like we have the resurgence of Edey in a way. 18 points a game, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, and 64% from the field. You pair that with Daniel Jacobson, who we lost early in the year last year to an ACL, and now you got your two 7-footers, your two trees, one that can shoot from three. He was an absolute monster at South Dakota State. Watching him play basketball was just fun. So you can't deny that addition to an already incredibly strong Purdue lineup is not going to make a big impact. I'm not gonna say more than that. I think it's a huge transfer for us.
I guess kind of sticking in the same vein, Christoph Tilley, moving from Santa Clara to Ohio State, 12 points a game, 5 rebounds, shoots 55% from the floor. Immediately makes Ohio State dangerous. Their front court was so bad last year, and they were a borderline tournament team all year. They were there.
You could argue they should have got in over North Carolina, right?
And so if you take the biggest weakness on your team and you plug in a player who is miles better than what you rolled out last year, I think this Ohio State team is going to sneak up on some people. They're still going to play that Big Ten brand of defense. I love Christoph Tilley to Ohio State. I think that's a big move for them. And I think it immediately makes Ohio State a top 4 or 5 team in the Big Ten.
And can we just give a quick shout out to you for going in the trenches to find a transfer from Santa Clara? What kind of give it up for Rick, man? What that dude got down and dirty for that one. I love it.
It's just all narrative, man. I think about what I want to say to piss people off, and I find a story that matches.
God, I love that dude. King Rage Baiter and King Researcher, man. Great find. I love that. I'm going Ryan Conwell, Xavier to Louisville. And I'm sorry for the viewers here. Louisville is going to be a little bit of a theme for me, kind of from this point on in the season. Consistency. Ryan Conwell is consistency. Look at his last 2 seasons, Xavier. Both over 16 points a game. Both over 3 assists per game. Both over 40% from 3 and 45% from the field. And a steal a game. So he's a defensive hounder too. I love the addition of Ryan Conwell, who will bring some balance and some security to a Louisville offense that got a bit frantic and turned the ball over a lot last year. Huge addition for Louisville, along with some of the other players that I'll discuss here in a little bit. So Xavier was a good team last year, and he was kind of the bell cow, the leading horse for them, so to speak. Love that addition for Louisville. And then just to kind of round it out, just a watch out, Indiana added Miles Rice and Jaleel Bethea. It's so interesting to see how teams fill gaps. Miles Rice is kind of that Joe Sansanin, one dribble, mid-range pull-up, smart shot selection, very balanced on both sides of the floor. And then Jaleel Bethea is like your Walter Clayton. Give him the ball with 10 seconds left and go make a shot. Both went to Indiana. Watch out for Indiana in the Big Ten. Think they potentially could make some noise this year.
Yeah, we have Indiana at 49 and 59, respectively. They're going to be a good Big Ten team.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. I think we'll see them creep up. I don't know if they'll be top 25 for us by mid-year, but they get a couple wins in the Big Ten. You're going to see them slide
looking at this schedule, they're probably not going to touch this board.
Yeah, I know they got to play Purdue and Wisco, so.
All right. Superlatives.
Let's do it.
Which are fun. Not a whole lot of surprises on this. When I was building out this board,
this is a good board, though. I love that.
There's a lot going on. So I guess let's start with our champs. I'll let you go first.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you heard me say it about the transfers. We're returning Kaufman Wren. You can argue Braden Smith should have won Player of the Year last year. Purdue was a bad no call away from beating, in my opinion, the team that should have won the championship, Houston. If they win that game, I'm not sure that they don't win the championship. Again, Florida was pretty much untouchable, so who knows? Their shooting, their defense, the additions they made in the offseason, for me, it's not just because I'm biased. It's because I think they're going to win the Big Ten by a lot. And I think they're going to be the most well-rounded team going in the tournament. So for me, my championship's Purdue. you went a little off course here. I like this pick right here. I like this pick a lot.
Yeah, as I'm sitting and looking at our rankings, the schedule, the board, I feel like UConn has what it takes to win another championship here. The schedule is not easy by any means, but I mean UConn's no stranger to it at this point.
No.
The pedigree is there, the players are there. They're battle tested. The tournament is very different than the season.
Yes.
The season is very much get to the tournament, and then it's game, rest, game. Right? You have to be able to do that, and there's no way to simulate that. So the best way to be ready for that is to have done it before.
Right.
And UConn, from staff to players, knows how to do that.
Yep.
I almost went Arkansas here, and I think if I had Alabama ranked a little worse, I would have. But I think the SEC is really tough.
Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm going to have them putting the most bids in again this year.
Yep.
My official pick is UConn. I like what I see from them. Purdue's going to be a tough beat. I hope that they end up on the same side of the bracket, because I think beating Purdue in a semifinal is way easier than beating them in a final. So we'll see how it falls out. But yeah, UConn's my official pick there.
I love it, and I promise I didn't mean to do what I did on the third row, but we'll get to that in a second.
Well, I mean, go ahead and hit it. Go ahead and hit it now, because you did have other teams listed.
I did.
And I picked this one for this conversation.
And this is more of a pure hate pick than anything else. I didn't track what they did in the off season very well, so they very well could have a better transfer class than I think they might have had. For me, it was. I'm going to go back to the coaching. I think Hurley's a phenomenal coach, but I think that his emotion gets in the way of his coaching a bit too often. I'm not saying you shouldn't be emotional. I'm not saying that you should be deadpan on the sideline, straight-faced, not laying into your players. But it was like the chirping at the crowd and like the unnecessary media attention that I think like got to them last year, because they were a tournament team last year. They were. But then they played like shit, right? They played like garbage in the tournament. And I'm worried that after the back-to-back championships, it kind of got to their heads a little bit, not necessarily the players, but potentially Hurley. And I'm wondering if he can right the ship, because you and I had UConn ranked outside the top 25 pretty consistently last year. So, man, I'll tell you what, if they start going off, I'll eat my words. I mean, I'm not going to hold back from putting them in the top 25, top 15. If they're depicting that they're that team, I'm more worried about the media, and I'm more worried about if Hurley can keep a level head, because we know his brother at ASU can. So let's see what goes on. I'm excited to see it.
I went Oregon for my surprise trash team.
I like the call.
We talked a little bit about how the top of the Big Ten is even better, and maybe the bottom of the Big Ten is even worse. The Alligators back, but outside of that, I don't think Oregon puts it all together.
Yeah.
I'm on some Ducks message boards and stuff, because I liked the Ducks a lot before they joined the Big Ten, and then I had to stop, but I still get all the notifications and stuff. And like the Ducks fans and the media from Oregon is like, we're being slept on. Like,
yeah,
I don't think you are. I really don't think you are. I think Hawaii's going to play them close to open the year. And I think that's going to be a signal of things to come, because I don't think they put it all together this year. I think it's going to be more the bad Oregon from last year rearing its head more and more and more, and not the good Oregon from the last decade. A bad Oregon, a trash Oregon, to use our nomenclature here, is probably a tournament team. But there's a difference between going to the tournament and losing in the first round and actually making some noise in the tournament. So Oregon's my surprise trash team. I wouldn't be surprised to still see them finish top 8 in the Big Ten.
They probably will. Right, back half of the Big Ten does look a little bit weaker. I will get into that in a second, but love the Hawaii call out. Quick quick call out here. My boy AJ Ekanamu on Hawaii is going to go off in that game against Oregon for 15. By the way, I had to play with him over the summer at the Village down the street, and getting a little bit off course here, but I saw him take 2 dribbles from half court and like take off from just inside the free throw line and dunk on somebody's forehead. I'm still scarred and happy that I was not anywhere near that play. Go Hawaii in that game though. Just want to give a quick plug there for the show. Player of the year. Let's go there next. So continuing with my bias again. He won point guard of the year last year. I think he was a top 3 finalist, right? You could have made the argument that no one had a bigger impact on their team than Braden Smith. Maybe Clayton, actually, I guess, would be also a really good call.
Yeah, 16 the guy a game. Went to the NBA?
Yeah. 16 a game, 2.2 steals a game, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 40 from 3, 43 from the field. And every single year, he's improved his output. He's balanced. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's a sense of security when he's bringing the ball up the court. And I think with the additions of Clough, with Jacobson coming back, with Kaufman running the shooters that we have around him this year, I think he might go from 9 assists a game to like 10 or 11. I think that's how good this kid is. And again, you could have made the argument that he could have won last year, but I think this year's his year, and I don't think anyone will have a bigger impact on this team than Braden Smith. So Braden Smith, my player of the year.
I'm gonna go similar vein. Give me the guy that would have won last year if it wasn't for a certain somebody. Toppin is the best player in his conference by a wide margin.
Long shot.
This'll be it. This'll be it for him. There's no way he plays his senior year unless this year goes really poorly. The Big 12 is soft. The Big 12 is kind of soft, and I think the video game numbers he's going to be able to put up against 3/4 of his conference schedule, including teams that the media is still thinking are good, Iowa State. I think that the numbers are all going to be there. And I think at the end of the year, you are probably right that Braden Smith is going to have the biggest impact on his team. But I think Toppin's stats are going to be far and away better on paper.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the kind of year we're going to have where it's a race to the top for stats for these guys. And Toppin is such a box score stuffer across the board that I think that's going to shine through. You can't have a guy who's going to play 30 minutes a game and just shoot 60% and blow the lights out. I mean, if he can go 18-2 is what he shot last year. If he can have 18 points a game and 5 rebounds a half, which is pretty much what he averaged last year,
right?
And a steal and a block and work the defensive boards. And I just think when it's all said and done against a soft Big 12, his numbers are going to be so out of proportion with everybody else's that any comparison that you do, it's going to be like, oh, it's this guy.
Yeah.
So unless they shit the bed from a wins standpoint, I don't know how the numbers aren't there.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, no flag, he wins it last year, right? Like it's pretty clear. I think him and his team are going to be the best in the Big 12. Like you pair that with, you pair your best player in the conference with a successful team, and you have the stats to back it. Braden Smith's probably going to have a tougher competition in the Big 10, which means he may struggle more than Toppin. So I like your call on Toppin. I think it very well could happen. So great call out by you.
And if you're a betting guy, you can get way better value on Toppin than you can on Braden Smith. Braden Smith's the favorite. I mean, Braden Smith should win Player of the Year.
Yeah,
but you could get Toppin like 14-1 for Player of the Year. So if you're a betting guy, the opportunity is there.
Absolutely,
I really like that. And on that, SMU at 110-1 to win the championship. That'll be my dark horse because that value is insane. SMU, really good team last year. Not a whole lot has changed except the ACC got worse. So, we talked a little bit about North Carolina, talked a little bit about your dark horse here. I won't steal too much of your thunder, but the ACC is wide open. And so whoever can kind of step up and do work, I mean, you have the path to the ACC championship, gives you that auto bid. The ACC champ is probably a top 3 line. Like that's the path. That's the path in for a team like SMU who can play fast. They can grind. They really, a lot of times last year, let the opponent dictate the pace and then outperformed them at that pace. So if they can keep up that hybrid style of play and adapt to their opponent, I really like SMU to do well in the ACC and then to make a run in the tournament.
So phenomenal call. If you didn't have them, I was going to have them. I don't know if you remember me kind of talking about this last year, but they scored over 110 points 4 times. They're a top 30 offense. They're top 20 in rebounding. They're number 47 in effective field goal percentage. They're returning a ton of people. They should have made the tournament last year, right? You and I both had him in the tournament, right? Love this team. Love the call. Hot take. SMU ends their conference in 2nd place behind North Carolina.
There's some money to be made there.
I'm telling you right now. I love the call, Rick. Great call. I am actually going to go with Louisville. And I guess the reason why I'm calling them a dark horse is because they're not the blue blood they once were, right? And we talked about Conwell coming from Xavier to Louisville, but that's not the reason why I think they're going to be successful. Vangelis Zalgiris, nicknamed.
Well done.
Thank you. That was actually not bad, right? Nicknamed the Greek Warrior, has played on the Greek FIBA team for the last 4 years. And you mentioned the gentleman on North Carolina. Where was he playing, Rick? He was playing somewhere internationally, but against pro players.
Spain,
right? You're talking about having been tried and tested, I apologize, versus grown ass men, and you're going to come play in college, and your nickname is the Greek Warrior? Yeah, go ahead and sign me up. Balance on the offensive side of the ball, consistency now with Conwell, power with Zalgiris, right? I think that this team, again, was really good last year, right? Faltered towards the end, but made the conference championship actually against Duke, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was the conference championship. I like the team a lot. I don't know what the odds are. Rick will pull that up real quick while I'm talking. Give me Louisville to make a very deep run in the NCAA tournament this year. Give me Louisville to the Elite Eight right now. That's what I'll say. Louisville to the Elite Eight right now. That's what I'm signing up for. I think they're real good.
Yeah, Louisville odds-on favorite to win the ACC right now. You can get 10-1, 12-1 to win the championship.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that because it's not really a dark horse. God damn it.
It's fair. It counts.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say, I just wanted.
No one's picking them to win.
Yeah, and I just honestly, I just wanted an excuse. I just wanted an excuse to say Vangelis Zalgiris, to be perfectly honest with you. Yeah, so that's really it. Most bids, by the way, Big Ten. That's I know you said SEC. SEC is probably the right pick. I got Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Michigan State, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio State, Purdue, and check this out, Wisconsin and UCLA, all making the tournament. 10 teams from the Big Ten.
Yeah, that's very possible. I like it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hey guys, that's dead ball dancing. We're going to try to get you out of here about this time while college football's still on. So go enjoy those games.
Yes,
Check out Chain Link where you can pick all the college football games today.
Yep.
We'll have our game of the week up there once the games actually start. our next show is November 1st.
Yes, sir.
That'll be the official season 2 launch. The first games are on November 3rd. So
Hell
we'll have a game of the week for you. We'll have some previews for you. Let us know in the comments if there's a type of content you want to see or some segments you want to see. We're going to try to keep these episodes this year right around 1 hour, get you in, get you out, but they'll be on Saturday mornings. The idea is you can get with us and go directly into the Saturday morning slate of games on the East Coast. College basketball, wire to wire. Start your day with us. End your day not cashing your parlay. I mean, what else could you want?
Absolutely, man. Really excited for this season. I think we got some really good content coming, potentially some surprises coming your way. This is going to be a phenomenal season. The tournament's wide open. We have no idea who's going to win the championship. There's a lot of good teams. Really excited to get into it with you this year, Rick, man. It's going to be a good season.
Oh, yeah. He's Justin. I'm Rick. Thanks for joining us on Dead Ball Dancing. We will see you on November 1st.